All righty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to, I believe, episode 155 of Roundabout Sports. It's a special Thanksgiving one. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, everybody. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Carp, alongside my friend and colleague, AB, Austin Bradley himself. And folks, thank you all for tuning in. It is Wednesday, November 26th, 2025. AB, how are we feeling tonight, buddy?
Feeling pretty good. Michigan is going to play Gonzaga for the Players Era Invitational Championship in about 2 hours. I am psyched up, ready to go for that. I'm full of juice, full of energy, ready to rock and roll tonight.
I guess the pregame show is on for you, and you're ready to lock in for it.
Do I need to turn it down?
Oh no, as of now you're fine, but folks, let's get some of the early spiel going before we get started on this evening's show. Of course, as always, Roundabout Sports is found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, and any and all other streaming platforms out there. Be sure to follow Interstate 70 Sports Media on Facebook, X, and on the official Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. You can also follow Roundabout Sports on Facebook as well. Also, be sure to check out the slew of great shows that we have on our network. And that includes, but is not limited to, Cardinals on My Time with Scott Plaza, the Redbird Rundown podcast, the Blues Fan Forum podcast, Issues with Wrestling, the College Hoop Show, the Elite Sports Show, and we are working on getting more with Chris Horton, who was our guest last week. And he's working on getting his show up on there as well. All that can be found on the official YouTube channel. It is simple, folks. You just go to YouTube, type in Interstate 70 Sports Media, or type in one of those shows I named. Hit that subscribe button, and you'll get all the up-to-date updates that you would ever hope to get. It is simple as that. With all of that said, folks, Thanksgiving episode, I tell you, there is a lot going on right now. Now, the first thing, we're going to preview the games tomorrow. There are 3 football games tomorrow, 1 on Friday, 2 if you include the Turkey Bowl football game my friends and I are going to take part in. That's always classic. And, of course, yes, my dad tuning in. Happy early Thanksgiving. Folks, send in your comments, questions, whatever the case may be. We are live streaming as always every week on X, YouTube, multiple Facebook pages, and on the Interstate 70 Sports Media Twitch account. So think we should start off with this. We'll start with the first matchup of the day, which will be the Detroit Lions taking on the Green Bay Packers. It's a rivalry as old as time. And it's nice to see that for once they're starting to have some bigger meaning behind it. Both the Lions and the Packers are heading into this behind the NFC North leading Chicago Bears. Packers are 7-3-1, Lions are 7-4. Lions have the better offense, Packers have the better defense. So heading into this matchup, there is a lot at stake considering the Bears also play the Eagles on Friday. So my first question that I'm going to shoot out there for us to answer is, who do we think has more to gain and more to lose with this matchup, the Packers or the Lions?
I think first and foremost, Joshua Jacobs is going to play tomorrow. Which is a big deal if you're a Packers fan, if you're a member of the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers have more to gain. The Lions have more to lose, in my opinion. It really separates, I think, the trajectory of the season for a team. If you're able to go 8, the Packers, I believe, would be 8-3. 8-3-1 with a victory, and then that would put the Lions at 7-5. Yes. With they're a good portion of games over 500. I think that Green Bay, with a victory, in my mind, would actually be in very good position to make the playoffs. I think they're both going to make the playoffs anyway, but I think they would be in very good position to feel comfortable, I should say, in knowing that they're going to make the postseason. And then, as to for the Lions, if they lose this game and the Packers win, it could very well find they could very well find themselves in a position where some of those games down the stretch become a little bit more must win than maybe they originally would have been.
Exactly. And I do want to point that out. It's interesting. Josh Jacobs playing tomorrow is a huge boost for the Packers. To me, top 10 running back in the NFL, but an absolute workhorse for them prior to his injury last week. And Emmanuel Wilson filled in quite nicely, but Josh Jacobs is still truly the impact player. Also, while he is not playing tomorrow, Jaden Reed did return to practice this week, which, like I said, did not play or will not play tomorrow. Matthew Golden is questionable, so it looks like Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson are still going to lead that receiving group for the Packers. I also want to point out, Detroit has a lot of good momentum on their side. Detroit coming off this it was interesting. Nobody expected the Giants-Lions game to go to overtime. But any game and we've talked about this, any game Jameis Winston plays in is going to be a fun game and a must-watch game. And he proved it again. Well, sadly, the Lions blew a fourth quarter lead again, lost again, and they're officially the first team out of the playoff hunt at 2-10. Detroit carries a lot of momentum off that game heading into this week's matchup. But I must say, I feel like the Packers might actually have more to lose on this because, honestly, take a look at this. Frank Ragnow is coming out of retirement to play for this Lions team that is pushing for the playoffs. The Packers are the team that traded for Micah Parsons. The Lions were not a very active team as far as reaching outward during free agency, during the offseason. They worked on keeping all their guys that they had. Like that's their main thing. So I look at it as the Packers went all in to really try to make a big time Super Bowl run, but now here they are at 7-3-1 and behind the Chicago Bears of all teams. We did not expect that coming into the season, but here we are. I look at it where the Lions are definitely the team to watch that has more to lose. Or I'm sorry, the Packers have the team more to lose because in a way we're expecting better from Green Bay right now. They're squeaking wins, but I expect better from Green Bay than how they performed this season.
I just feel like 7-5 for Detroit looks a lot different than 8-4. I just can't. The trajectory, the feeling in the locker room, et cetera. That's just kind of where my head's at.
No, I get it. It's totally fine. So here's the thing. I look at it as the biggest thing heading into tomorrow's matchup. Can that Packers defense that they invested heavily in with Xavier McKinney, Michael Parsons, etc., can they stop? It's still a very high-octane offense Detroit has. Yes, they could go 7-5 if they lose tomorrow. But if you take a look at the team, you still got Jahmyr Gibbs, who is pushing for an Offensive Player of the Year award right here. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is still having a great year. Getting Ragnow back is a huge boost for this offensive line. The offense is very explosive of Detroit. Can the Packers defense hold them at bay?
Right.
That's how I look at it. That's to me, the matchup to watch is, can the Packers defense hold off? Because I like the Packers offense. I think the offense does its job. They do just enough. But will the defense be able to hold Detroit? And right now, I have a hard time believing so.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree. I would agree with that.
So, before we get to our next game, I want to talk about, well, first off, before we get to our final prediction, I want to talk about our sponsor, Harsh Construction LLC. That is Harsh Construction LLC, with over 50 years combined experience in the field of construction, landscaping, remodeling, renovating. Be sure to call for a free quote today at 618-363-9818. That is 618-363-9818. Harsh Construction LLC, located in the St. Louis metro area. That said, moving on, I wanted to ask, so I guess it's time we get our prediction out for the Packers-Lions. I'm going to just be honest, AB. I say Lions win 27-20. It'll be a close game throughout, but once again, I think the Lions find a way to win it in the end.
Give me the Lions 17-14.
Okay. All right. It's. I was gonna say, when it's two people, the unanimous isn't as large, but it is 2 against none when it comes to this. So, all righty, folks. Well, moving right along, we're gonna head to the afternoon game for Thanksgiving. That being the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a big one. This is a big time matchup. The Cowboys and Chiefs are coming off perhaps their biggest wins of the season from last week. Cowboys beating the Eagles and on a walk-off. And the Chiefs winning in overtime against the Indianapolis Colts. So here's my thing. I look at what the Chiefs defense did to the Colts offense, and you realize what has kept them in the playoff hunt all season. This defense may not have the statistics to absolutely write home about, but they just shut down the guy that I've considered a top MVP candidate to 58 total rushing yards, and that being Jonathan Taylor. And for the first time since week 8, I think it's only the third time all year, actually, Jonathan Taylor did not score a touchdown. They pressured Daniel Jones, forced him to make throws he wouldn't normally make. Patrick Mahomes was clutch when he needed to be, and the Chiefs won in overtime. So here's my thing. What do you do to this? What do you do? How do you exploit this defense if you're Dallas?
Yeah, I want to kind of start with this past weekend and the Chiefs being able to win that game in overtime. I feel like they really got a monkey off their back. Not being able to win a close game for the majority of the season, but then finding a way to do so the other day against Dallas, against a good Dallas, or not against Dallas, I apologize, against Indianapolis.
Right.
A good Indianapolis team. So, Spags is always going to have that defense ready to go. It's a big game. It's Thanksgiving Day. I don't know. I'm not a pro Chiefs guy. I'm a pro Chiefs this game. I think the Chiefs might have found something on Sunday, to tell you the truth. I know I was very Chiefs aren't going to make the playoffs, but for them to be able to kind of, like I said, get that monkey off their back, I think they may have found something on Sunday. So that's kind of where I'm at in my thinking process for tomorrow's game between the Cowboys and the Chiefs.
You said it perfectly because they were 0-5 in this season so far in one score games, something they were 11-0 in last season. For them to come in to this game against one of the best teams in the AFC, I mean, we're talking about a team that is at first, I mean, before this big surge by Denver and New England, they were considered the top dogs of the AFC. And now Kansas City, big home win for them. But now they go to Dallas. Dallas looking to get back-to-back home wins. Now, I will say about the win against Philly, a lot of it, I'm not going to say it was a lucky win. I will say the Cowboys were because the Cowboys did what they had to do. They capitalized off a lot of Philly mistakes. Missed field goals, muffed punts. I mean, the muffed punt return after a huge stand by the Eagles. And also, I'm going to say this. To me, the game-changing moment was Saquon's fumble. Because they sustained a long drive. They used a lot of time off that clock for Saquon Barkley to fumble in Cowboys territory. And Dallas has been a great driving team all year. They used a lot of the time, drove back down. And then when they did have to punt it away, what ends up happening? The Eagles give them the ball right back. And suddenly it's 1st and goal. Dallas takes advantage, and now here we are. And the thing of it is you take a look at the NFC East. The Cowboys are the only team that can give the Eagles a run for their money right now. If we're talking standings-wise in that division, Giants are out. Commanders are on hospice, basically. And the Cowboys are 5-1. And it's funny because if I want to have a great illusion here, I want to compare them to the 2000 Rams for a second. Explosive offense, phenomenal offense. But man, does this defense give up a lot of yards and a lot of points. The 2000 Rams are the first, and I still think only team to have scored over 500 points and allow over 400 points. The Cowboys right now heading into tomorrow's game they've scored 320 points and they've allowed 314.
Right.
They're 3-1 at home. And say what we want about Jerry's world, but somehow the home field advantage is doing them some sort of good this year. I will say that. Next, tomorrow, though, is the big test. And, of course, my dad chiming in saying, go Chiefs, beat the crap out of the Cowboys. I love to see it. I look at this matchup. Dallas has a great opportunity to stay in the wild card race. And when you really look at the Cowboys' schedule, we've looked at the Chiefs' schedule a multitude of times over the past few weeks. But the Cowboys have the Chiefs tomorrow. Then on next Thursday, they have the Lions at Detroit. They got the Vikings. They got the Chargers, the Commanders, and then the Giants. Honestly, the only game I would be highly concerned about if I were them would be the Lions. Other than that, you got 4 extremely winnable games there after tomorrow. But much to your point that you said earlier about 8-4 sounding a lot better than 7-5, 6-5-1 sounds a lot better than 5-6-1, especially when the first place team in your division's 8-3.
Right.
And maybe this is just my opinion. I really take a look at the playoff picture right now for the NFC. And we really look at where the teams are. And if you just give me 1 second, I know right now the Chiefs still have a 25% chance. As far as entering week 13, I know that we take a look at, there's a lot of top teams. So, for example, in the AFC, the Texans, Steelers, and Chiefs are all on the bubble. Texans got a 43% chance to make the playoffs. Chiefs have a 52% chance to win, to make the playoffs if they win tomorrow. 61% chance, I'm sorry. If they lose, it drops to 35. But here we go. Here's the Cowboys. Right now, the Cowboys are a fringe team. They are the 10 seed if the season ended today. If they win tomorrow, they got a 15% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose, it's all the way down to 4. At that point, it's over. Because you still got the 6-6 Panthers, the 7-4 Lions that are the 8 seed. And you look at who that last wild card spot is in the NFC, it's the 8-4 49ers. So it's a very cluttered NFC wild card race for that final spot. And Dallas cannot afford a loss. Neither team can. The Chiefs have a little more wiggle room, but even then, not much, AB.
Right. Yeah, the Chiefs, they both need to win. The Chiefs have to win. You can't take one step forward on Sunday and then two steps back on Thursday. It's very important for the Chiefs to win this game. Don't get me wrong.
Now here's my thing. Does the team that lose tomorrow officially, it's not mathematic, but will the team that lose tomorrow between the Cowboys and Chiefs miss the playoffs?
Oh, man.
That's the question.
I think if the Cowboys lose tomorrow, yes.
That's kind of where I'm leaning.
If the Cowboys lose, they're out. If the Chiefs lose, it's hard to bet against Mahomes, man.
If the Chiefs lose tomorrow, it becomes thin, like really thin.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I don't think people would be surprised, nor should they, if the Chiefs wouldn't make the playoffs if they lose tomorrow. If the Cowboys lose tomorrow, yeah, they're done. Unless there's a big collapse by either the Lions and I'll say this, I'll go one further. If they lose to the Chiefs tomorrow and then lose next Thursday to the Lions, they're dead. Their 2025 season is over. And the Jerry Jones memes about getting a defensive star are going to be more nonstop than they're already at. So, prediction time for the Chiefs Cowboys. AB, I'm handing it to you first. Who you got?
Again, I kind of said it a minute ago. I think the Chiefs found something on Sunday. They're my pick. I think the Chiefs win.
Right now, I take a look at, like, a lot of people have the over-under at 52.5 points, which I can definitely see this being a shootout with two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL going at it. My thing is, what's also crazy? Quick side note. This is Travis Kelce's first Thanksgiving game in the NFL. Can we just say that? I do find that really unique considering the dynasty. But with all that said, I'm going Kansas City Chiefs, 25-22. I do think there's going to be a lot of good defensive play up front that's going to force both quarterbacks to throw a lot more. But at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs definitely got more out of their victory against the Colts than the Cowboys did against the Eagles. And that's going to be the difference maker to me in this game. So I think we're both on the same. Now the question is, will we both be the same on this last game on Thanksgiving? And that is our Sunday night game. Or I'm sorry, our Thursday night, but primetime game. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. So, all week we were hearing Joe Burrow was going to come back. Everybody was ready. And he is. Joe Burrow is coming back. For tomorrow night's game. We haven't seen him since week 3, I believe, if not week 2. And they had said we're kind of on schedule with it. His turf toe injury, they said, was something that was gonna make him miss a few months, and he's been out since late September or mid-September. So here we are. No, Cincinnati's not in the playoff hunt. And people are going to criticize the fact that he's coming back. But here's the thing. You have suddenly, let's flip back 4 weeks, okay? Let's flip back 4 weeks. At the time, AB, the Ravens were 2-5. They were 3rd in the whole division. Lamar was out. Derrick Henry was struggling. The defense was injury-riddled. Everything was going wrong. So what the hell happened to where now all of a sudden the Ravens have won 5 straight games? They're 6-5, tied with Pittsburgh atop the AFC North. And Cincinnati's now tied with Cleveland for last in the AFC North. But Baltimore, Lamar is struggling. We're not going to hide that. He is still struggling. Derrick Henry's picked it up a notch, and the defense has really, really buckled down. So here is my thing. Can a bad offense in the Ravens, because that's what they've been a pretty bad offense, can they beat the bad defense of the Cincinnati Bengals?
Oh, man.
Or is this a trap game?
I thought I saw the other day that Joe Burrow was playing. Is that right?
Yeah. Joe Burrow, he is playing. He was added to the roster, I think a few hours ago, actually. But he is set to play tomorrow.
Man. If Joe Burrow is back, if he can get out of the gates, I think the Bengals win it.
This is going to be quite the game.
I don't know, because he hasn't played much, and that's kind of where my head goes.
Yeah, I get it.
But
now I look at the Bengals and Ravens. Here's the thing. There is a couple really big situations here. Right now, it's suddenly the hot Ravens against the Bengals and Joe Burrow's return. So, yes, since Joe Burrow got hurt in week 2, the Bengals have gone 1-8.
Right.
Which is funny because I look at the team. Offensively, they haven't done that bad. They just have a terrible defense. Joe Flacco has flinged that ball. Now, On top of Joe Burrow coming back tomorrow, keep in mind, Jamar Chase is coming back. He was out last week because of his suspension for spitting at Jalen Ramsey. Now, in his career, Lamar Jackson has gone 22 touchdowns, 4 picks, and 784 rushing yards in 12 games against the Bengals. In those games, the Ravens are 10-2. Now, since their win against Miami on Thursday Night Football, Lamar Jackson has only thrown 57% completion on his passes, and he only has averaged 175 yards a game. So those are a little bit of the numbers that make me believe maybe this could be a trap game. They did struggle at first against the Jets. And the Jets, well, we're going to get to them in a few minutes. But it's hard to bet against the Ravens. They were 1-5. We were ready to. They were talking about getting rid of Lamar, firing Harbaugh, reset the whole thing, cut Henry. Like, people were done with this team, and now all of a sudden, bam, they're back up top. So this means one of two things. Either this means, hey, they're back, they're winning big tomorrow, or it's a trap game, and the Bengals are ready to say, look, we got nothing to lose. We're putting Burrow out there, and we're going to show you guys that he's still our franchise quarterback. Because they're not giving up on Joe Burrow. They just can't invest in an O-line to protect him, I guess. So I'm ironically, this is the game that has the littlest at stake as far as playoffs go in postseason, because one team is completely out of it. And yet, this is the one that might be the hardest for me to decide on who I think will win. Because there's good things about both teams, there's great things about both teams, but there are such bad flaws all around. Right. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. I don't know. To me, it circles around Burrow. How does Burrow play in his first game back? Is he really 100%? That's another thing. The storylines of this game circle around Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow comes out and plays well and does what we know that he is capable of doing, I think the Bengals will win this game, because I just do. If he plays bad, if he struggles, if he can't get out of the gate, if he's slow to get going, I think the Ravens are going to have a really good shot to win. That's just where I'm at. If you forced me to predict it, I would say the Ravens, because they're at home. But man, you're right. It is a tough game to predict.
Each game on the tomorrow's slate has the chance to be a shootout. I think this might be the shootout of the day. And if Burrow's on form and Jamar Chase balls out, damn, this is tough. I look at the Cincinnati Bengals, and I look at how they've done their against the Patriots, they lost by 6. They lost by 5 to the Bears. They lost by 1 to the Jets. They lost by 2 to the Steelers the first time. For the most part, the Bengals have been in these games. They can't close them out. That's something the Giants and the Jets have had trouble with, and the Bengals all year, is closing out these games. Well, this week, I look at the injury report. T. Higgins is out. Trey Hendrickson's out. I mean, those are two of your best guys right there. Meanwhile, Kyle Hamilton probably will play for the Ravens. Justice Hill's out, which means Keaton Mitchell will get any carries that Derrick Henry doesn't get. So if I have to give my prediction, screw it. I'm going 35 to 26 because what the hell? 35-26, Ravens win. I think what happens is Bengals lead early, have momentum. Ravens, something clicks in them in the second half, and they march forward and they don't look back. So I got my 3 picks. I think we got the same 3 picks: the Lions, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. So, but I'm excited for these games. I think they will be really fun to watch, and Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. So, for more reasons than just football, but that's one of them.
I have to be honest with you, Jeremy. I've grown up in a college basketball on Thanksgiving Day family, so to be honest, we don't watch a ton of NFL, but it's more of like, I grew up, which now they've moved it up a few days because of this Players Era deal, but I grew up watching, the Maui Invitational, the Battle for Atlantis, the Great Alaskan Shootout. Like those were my Thanksgiving Day traditions, Thanksgiving Day games that I grew up on. And I'm just going to tell you the truth. I don't expect it to be much different this year, as my uncle's a big North Carolina Tar Heels fan, and they're playing Michigan State, and there's some other big games on as well, Duke and Arkansas. And I'm not trying to change the conversation to basketball, but just full transparency there. We've not really ever been much of an NFL on Thanksgiving Day kind of family. It's always been more basketball, but I'm sure there will be some really, really awesome games on the football side of things as well, as we've seen.
But that's what makes it also fun for us because, we bounce off, each other's sports and what we're a fan of. Now, moving on to here on Roundabout Sports on our special Thanksgiving episode is my favorite segment. And, of course, that is this week's installment of Just How Bad Do the New York Jets Suck? The New York Jets. Football fodder for the fun. Well, of course, the sky is blue, the grass is green, and the New York Jets have lost again. They are 2-9 on the season. They've scored only 219 points and have allowed almost 300. I will say that they put up a decent fight against the Ravens until halftime. And then after halftime, that's when it all went downhill. And the Jets ended up losing 23-10. Now, that's this week's installment of Just How Bad the New York Jets Suck. Now, AB, I'm going to give you the floor for just a quick moment to give the folks just the latest quick roundup of some of the biggest things of note you have in the world of college basketball. Because that, my friend, is where I trust you more than me. By a long shot.
Yeah. Of course, it's feast week. Everybody knows that. It's an exciting time to be a college basketball fan. A ton of tournaments going on. You get the brand new Players Era Invitational. It started last year. I believe there was 8 teams in it. There is 18 teams now. Tennessee and Kansas are currently playing for third place. Michigan and Gonzaga will follow them for the championship. The winner of that gets $1 million in NIL funds sent home to their university. They're going to wire a check to that particular institution. You can't forget about the Fort Myers tip-off tomorrow. Michigan State, North Carolina, 2 real blue blood programs. Duke and Arkansas tomorrow on Thanksgiving on CBS. The Maui Invitational crowned its champion today, the USC Trojans. The battle for Atlantis is going on. There's a ton of college basketball this week. Every channel you can think of, just about sports channel, CBS Sports, Big Ten Network, SEC Network, ACC Network, Fox, FS1, ESPN. I could keep going. Even TNT and True TV have these games on them. It's been a super, super exciting week, and it never gets old. These types of weeks, the first couple days of the NCAA tournament, this week, Feast Week, it never ever gets old. So yeah, it's super exciting.
So here's my quick one for you, because the Duke Arkansas matchup does really entice me. So who do you got in the Duke Arkansas clash?
Duke. I think that Duke is one of the best teams in the country. I think that they, Cam Boozer, Isaiah Evans, Caden Boozer, I think that they are one of the best teams in the country. I would have them, if I was to put out rankings today, which I need to get back on that. I haven't done that in a couple weeks. If I was to put out rankings today, I would probably have Duke at about 4 or 5. I would say, I'll give you my top 5. I would say Purdue's number 1, Arizona's number 2, Michigan's number 3. No, that's not biased. Did you see what they did to Auburn last night? They beat them by 30. Gonzaga beat them, or Gonzaga probably number 4, and Duke number 5. Duke is really, really good. They are beating the crap out of everybody, even the teams that are supposed to be good. So I think Duke beats Arkansas pretty convincingly. I would say by 15 or more. So
here is my because I've from what college basketball I have watched, here is my top 5. So I'm gonna go Purdue because I believe Purdue is still undefeated. I'm gonna go Houston at number 2. I'm gonna put Duke at number 3 because for a multitude of reasons. Because I do like Duke. I mean, I'm gonna put UConn at 4. This is gonna be a weird one. You're probably gonna wonder why. I'm actually gonna put BYU at 5. I'm gonna give BYU the 5 ranking on that one. So and then Michigan would probably be 6.
So repeat that again.
Okay, so and I'll tell you why, because I like that BYU, they took down number 3 Wisconsin, at least at the time, back at least in March, and then how they barely lost to UConn just last Saturday, I believe. But anyway, so I got Purdue at 1, Houston, Duke, UConn, and then BYU.
Okay. My only issue with that is Houston losing last night to Tennessee. If Houston wins that game, they were my number 2 before today. It was Purdue. It was Purdue, Houston, Arizona, Michigan, and Duke was my top 5 before last night. And then whenever Tennessee beat Houston, they kind of fell down just because they also struggled with Syracuse and some other things. But yeah, I like that top 5. I think BYU has a really good team over there. Richie Saunders, AJ Devonta, who's going to probably be the number 1 pick in the draft. Yeah, BYU can do damage there. And I will say this: if you're a fan of a team and you're listening to rankings, or maybe you're doing it yourself and you're trying to decide who do I put where, be very careful with how you rank teams this early in the season. It can change so much from day to day. Especially in a week like this where everybody's playing 2 or 3 and some 4 games in a 7-day stretch. It's going to fluctuate a lot. So,
okay. Well, before we do our usual wrap up, I want to say, as you know, tomorrow is my favorite holiday. That being, of course, Thanksgiving. AB, I want to give you the floor because I want you, this is the time to be thankful, especially with family and a lot of wonderful blessings that we have, to just share a few words on what you're thankful for.
Yeah, I'm grateful for so much. I want to start by saying I'm thankful for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He is everything to me. He has seen me through so many trials and tribulations with physical health and different phases of my life. I'm thankful for my wife who puts up with me every day, and whenever she doesn't have to. But I'm thankful for her. I love her with all my heart. I'm thankful for my family, my friends, obviously. I'm thankful for my health. Something that a lot of people don't know about me is I have a heart condition and have pulmonary hypertension. I've had it since I was born. And there was a time in my life that, they didn't know that I was going to live to be 1. And then they didn't know that I was going to live to be 5, and then it was like, okay, well, he may not live to be, 10 or 11 or 13. And thank the Lord, I've been blessed with great health. Considering the circumstances, I'm doing well, way better than anybody, not anybody else, but than most with pulmonary hypertension at 25 years old. I can get out and do basically whatever I want. I'm so grateful to the Lord that He's preserved me and kept His hand on me each and every day. And I know that without Him, I'm nothing, and that it's not possible. So, I could sit here for hours and tell you what I'm thankful for, but I'll leave it at that to preserve time. But I'd be interested I'm going to put you on the spot here. I'd be interested to hear what you're thankful for as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm thankful for, of course, the good Lord above, who's given me all the blessings that I have received in my life. I'm grateful for my fiance and my almost 2-year-old daughter, who I'm sure you all could probably hear in the background right now as she is home from daycare and from her Gigi's house. I hear you, Brooklyn. Hang on. In fact, you know what? What the hell? Give me 1 second. All right. Hey, come here. Come here. You're going to be on the show too, because you are absolutely my world. And people may wonder why I'm putting my daughter, but this is my daughter. And she is absolutely the world to me. And I am thankful for her, my fiance, my fiance's family, my family, my friends, like my brothers that basically are my family. There's a lot that goes on in this world. And there's a lot of things in it. And I deal with depression on a daily basis. I deal with a lot of things on a daily basis. Here, you want this? You want the goldfish? Well, we have to get more. But I am very thankful for everybody I have. I'm thankful for the I-70 team that I have, you, Babs, Scott, Alistair, everybody. And so we wish you all a very wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. And we're going to wrap up today by, as always, letting you know that Roundabout Sports can be found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, and any and all other streaming platforms that you have. Be sure to follow Interstate 70 Sports Media on Facebook, X, and the official Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. As always, for the NAMI helpline, you put up 1-800-950-NAMI. That is 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Alliance on Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for those who struggle with mental health issues. And of course, we always end the show by putting up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you, who cares about you, who wants nothing but the best for you. We all, as Austin and I have talked about, have gone through a lot of trials and tribulations in our lives and have complicated a lot of things in said lives. But that doesn't mean our struggles have had to and get faced alone. Your feelings are always valid and you always matter. And you're just a phone call or a text message or an email or an appointment away from having that potential life-saving treatment or moment for you. And you could be the listening ears and watch eyes for somebody else in need as well. So once again, I want to thank my dear friend, Austin Bradley, AB, for joining me this week here on Roundabout Sports. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp, and we wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. And always remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.